Alright, let's just do a video on best star cards for every class except things I won't be going over. It's Infiltrator, because I'm only a level 27 Infiltrator, so that's kind of useless. Artillery doesn't have any star cards, and I'm not going to go over Fighter or Interceptor because I'm not great with them. And then for heroes, Finn I won't go over. And then I believe I can get like every other hero in class. So Assault. Always go Assault Training, Bounty Hunter, and Toughen Up. This is the best star card setup. Don't let Anarchy Ninja fool you. Don't use the stupid Ion Grenade. It sucks. And then for guns, you can't go wrong with any of these guns. Even the standard weapon's pretty solid. This gun's better for close range maps like Death Star and stuff. This is good for all types, and this is my favorite. And this one I don't really use much, but it's not bad. For heavy kind of depends on your playstyle. If you want points, then definitely go these two. If you want to be toxic, you can go Detonate Charge, or Supercharge Sensory, or Barrage. But this is the one I do, but overall I'm not the best heavy player, so I'm not gonna say for sure. Officer, definitely the best setup right here. Officer's Presence, Bounty Hunter, and then I use Improved Battle Command, but the only reason why I do this is because it gives you health. A lot of people use Recharge, which is also acceptable, or you could do Blast Command too if you really want, but I would prefer these two. If you're more into health, go with Improved Battle Command, and if you're into whatever, you can use Recharge, I guess. But and then for guns, don't use anything other than the SE44C. No other gun is great. The Blurred used to be great, but it's not great. S5 sucks, DL18 sucks. This gun's probably the best weapon in the game, with rapid fire and improved cooling. This is the easiest way to get a hero. Specialist, I'm not going to go over, but Enforcer I will. Definitely the Survivalist, Enforcer Training, and then Battle Hardened. He's probably the best. Unless some Enforcer main is going to come in to the comments and be like, oh, you're actually using the wrong setup. I don't know, I'm only a level 58. But Aerial, definitely these three are the best. It's all about surviving and stuff. So I don't really think there's any argument there. Infiltrator I'm not going to go over, but Armor, auto repairs goes quicker, damage increase, and then maximum health increase. It also depends on what you're using. So this is what I use for the ATST. I don't really go like the ATRT or the AAT or whatever. Speeder. Most speeders suck, but the air speeder on Hoth is fun, and then the speeder bike on Endor is pretty overpowered. So increased weapon cooling, it allows you to shoot more without overheating. And then this one, I'm actually not even sure about that. So this is what I use. You don't really need star cards for this though. You could use Reinforced Hull for extra health. Honestly, I don't really think you can go wrong with any of them, but definitely cooling systems and Reinforced Hull. The third one's up to you, I guess. And then Bomber, I'm not going to go over Fighter and Interceptor because I'm not too great with them. But Bomber, I will say, Advanced Torpedoes, 40% damage increase for your torpedoes. It's really good for strafing. Tuned Laser increases your primary weapon damage 10%. It's very good. And then if you compare this with Advanced Capacitators, whatever it's called, I don't know. I'm not a great reader. This is great, 40% heat reduction. This is the best for strafing, but if you're in the air, chances are you're gonna strafe. And then now, let's go to heroes. This is the fun part. Boba Fett. So no matter the mode, you're gonna want these two in Heroes vs. Villains or in Supremacy or Galactic Assault. And then the third one, Definitely either these two. This one is just preference. I know my friend Tyler uses augmented gear, and I think most people use this. But I like this a little bit better. It's just more for me. But I think for the average person, augmented gear is better. For Bossk, I'm not the greatest Bossk player in the world, but I've noticed for large-scale game modes, always use Name Your Poison. More health when you're in your Dioxis Grenade is clutch. Then 30% extra extended ability for your middle ability is huge. And in this one, if you get a kill, your abilities are short, and I find this to be well, but I don't think there's a wrong boss killer. I think most of these are pretty good overall. For Chewie, definitely always bonus health, always impervious, and for large scale game modes, you're going to always want to use Echoing Roar. Impervious is probably the best ability in the game, minus Flesh is weak, but you make Chewie a tank, you can get this dude to like 1,300 health with these two, and then this one increases the middle ability, which is huge. And then for Heroes vs. Villains, I would change out Echoing Roar. And you can either put Extended Shock, Slammed, Shocked, and Vulnerable, or if they have some blasters, you can use Furious Resilience, but I like Extended Shock, or Shocked and Vulnerable, or Slammed. This one's not really that great, and then Charging Frenzy is kind of useless. Vader, definitely, no matter what mode you're playing, you're going to want bonus health and Furious Resilience. Unless you're playing Hero Showdown, don't go cards for Vader if you're playing in Showdown. Don't be that guy. But for Galactic Assault and Supremacy, you're going to want Furious Resilience. This is damage reduction 25% when you use your middle ability, which you're going to be using as much as possible. Bonus health, 150 health, huge. It gets them to 950 overall. And I use Surrounded by Fear, but you can also use Feel of the Rage, or Punishing Grip, or Last Gasp. Either one of these three are fine, but I like Surrounded by Fear. And then for Palpatine, I'm not the greatest with. You can tell me if I'm wrong in the comments, if there's a better loadout, but I like just these. Increased range for your basic attack. Chain Lightning, more targets, I think that's pretty good. And then reduced stamina, I think that's probably the best in large scale game modes. HVB I don't really play with for Palpatine. Han, for Heroes vs. Villains, this is the loadout. You need Air Burst, which is damage increase when it's in the air, throwing your bomb. Smuggler's Wits, you get an extra dodge, so you have 3. And Heavily Modified Blaster. This is definitely the best Heroes vs. Villains loadout. But if you're in GA, use All In or Supremacy. Always use All In. Now it says each defeat with a shoulder charge tackle will reduce the recharge time for the ability can be used again. So most people on average think that it's just the shoulder charge. But there's an exploit, or I say exploit, it feels like one, but it's not. It's not an exploit. It's a glitch, sure, you can say. But All In, it reduces 50% of the recharge time for all the abilities. So the bomb is huge. So if you get a kill with your All In ability, don't use shoulder charge ever again, unless you know you can get a kill for sure. And then, yeah, this is definitely, because you can use your bomb a lot more frequent, which is huge. Iden Versio. Definitely alternative methods, droid batteries, and cooled blaster. I don't think there's any debating here for large scale game modes. I'm not really sure about Heroes vs. Villains. I used to use that loadout all the time. For Yoda, Going by Fighter Isaiah, who's probably the best Yoda in the game. Jedi Mentor, 8% damage reduction. Bonus health for your middle ability. And then you get an extra dash attack for agility. But if you're doing Heroes vs. Villains, which you probably shouldn't be going Yoda in Heroes vs. Villains regardless, but if you're doing that route, you can go with opposing the dark side for extra bonus damage to enemy heroes. For Rey, definitely use Focus Sight, Resilient Dash, and Damaging Strike no matter what. Unless you want to go Heroes vs. Villains, you can swap out Resilient Dash for balance so you get an extra dodge. But damage reduction on the dash, extra damage on the dash, and the Focus Sight, which is pretty huge. Maul sucks, but you can use Lightsaber Defense for large scale. 16% blaster damage, which is huge. Flow motion, you get an extra spin tack and then accelerated throw. I think this is definitely the best star card loadout for large scale. Other than that, I'm not really a Heroes vs. Villains player, but that's probably the best to go all around. Luke, this can be a little controversial. I know a lot of players like using Rush Immunity, Intensify, and Extended Push Reach. I think everybody can agree on Intensify and Extended Push Reach. But I'm not a fan of Rush Immunity. It's only 3 seconds and it's only 15% damage reduction. You could use it, but I use Epicenter, so it's a one hit on infantry. I'd say that's the best loadout. Me personally, I would say that's the best loadout. Leia's definitely these three. Definitely these three. High Spirit, increased health regen, increased firing time, and damage reduction. It's definitely the best Leia loadout. I'm not a Lando player at all, but I do know the setup. Increase health, and then the 2 sharpshooting abilities, increase range and reduced recharge, which is big. Kylo, Heroes vs. Villains, you could use Resilience, but I heard it's glitched, so I don't use it. But closing in, Harsh Pull, Power Reach, that's the best star card loadout for large scale. Finn, I'm not going to go over. Phasma, I'll say always use safety first and not hard enough. I like this, but for easy shots, I mean, you could use this for large scale. That could be good. Grievous, there's only 2 acceptable loadouts for Grievous. It's Beating Heart, Flesh is Weak, and Line Up Weaklings. You're always going to want to use Flesh is Weak and Line Up Weaklings. And then, depends on your playstyle, for either Sith Trained or Beating Heart. You use Beating Heart. I like the swap though, but it's up to you. For Obi-Wan, this is the best loadout. Jedi Resilience, forward. Give it all. That's definitely the best. There's no debating it. For Anakin, Dooku, sorry. Dooku can be tough. I'm not a Dooku player by all means, but Sith Control is good. This is good. This is good for hero modes. This can be good for either. Definitely don't use Blind Spot, like it's kind of useless. Finesse, don't use. And then Initiative is pretty good. So that's probably the best Dooku loadout if I had to say. For Anakin and large scale game modes, you're going to want to use Massive Strikes, Control the Force, and Raw Strength. No, don't use Tenacious, don't use Steamroll, and don't use all of them. This is definitely the best, there's no denying it. This makes it a one hit, and then this does 2, and then this just increases the radius of Heroic Might. BB-8, Definitely self-repairs, spinner, and whirlwind. That's definitely the best star card loadout. Increase damage, increase radius, and then cooldown reduce, and then increase health regen. And the BB9E, full reconstruction, faster, and link systems. Again, there's no denying it for that either. Definitely the best for all game modes. But anyways, that's it. I hope you enjoyed.